Today we're going to do an overview of the Triton key machine. It has been my go-to machine since it came out. I really like the fact that it works on conductivity. So if you clamp a key in the incorrect position, it will actually error out before it just cuts into the jaw and damages your bit or your tracer. Very user-friendly. Before we get into the features, let's talk about some of the jaws that are available with this unit. First one we're going to look at is the S1 jaw. It is used for cutting high security and double-sided standard keys. We have the S2 jaw, which is primarily your single-sided residential commercial jaw. We have the S3 jaw, which is for cutting and decoding tubular keys. S4 is for your Tibby keys, older Jaguars in the first couple of years of the Transit Connect. Then we have the S5 jaw, which is an engraving jaw. I've used it to engrave do not duplicate, as well as on master key systems that need to be numbered versus stamping. It looks a lot more professional and cleaner. And then lastly, we have the S8 jaw, which will convert a mechanical key to a flip key. It actually will remove the bow and cut the little groove for you to be able to use this in a remote flip key. All right, so now we're back at the machine itself. The on-off button is actually the emergency stop button. So to turn the unit on, you just twist it clockwise and the button will pop out and the software will load onto the tablet. It has these compartments. On the left, you can store your tracers. Standard tracers are 1 millimeter, and your extra cutters. 2 millimeter cutter is the standard cutter. You also need a 1.5 millimeter cutter for the new Ford Code Series, where they went from an external 2-track to an internal 2-track. I highly recommend having a minimum of 1 extra tracer and 1 extra cutter at all times. This side has your calibration tools and your tip or shoulder stop tool. Don't really need to use that a whole lot, as the machine, since it does work on conductivity, will actually determine where the tip is in the jaw, and we'll start cutting based off of that. So here's the main screen. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a automobile key. So we'll go to automobile, select C from the right side for Chevrolet. We're going to go to Camaro and the year, 2010 to 2016. Make sure that the code series and the year, make, and model that you selected matches the code series in your reference material. If it does, go ahead and touch the code series. And you have a couple of options here. If you're doing a duplicate key, you can decode the existing key and it'll determine the spacing and depth and give you the key code. If you're going to just cut a key, you can either use the input tab and input the biddings, or you can use the code series tab and input the key code for the vehicle. Search on or offline, so you don't necessarily have to have an internet connection in order to do this. It'll display your biddings. Well, that's out of focus. And you touch the biddings, and then it'll pop up on the main screen. A couple other tabs you have is to move the jaw. Not sure why you would really use that on this screen, but it's there. And you can see it tells you which jaw side to use, A, B, C, or D. In this case, it's going to be B. If you need to blow that up a little bit, you can hit the little magnifier, and it shows you B jaw, second tip stop. To minimize that, just touch it again. And cutter size is 2mm, which is a standard cutter. Decoder is 1mm, which is the standard size decoder for this machine. What we've done is we've actually inserted an existing key, and what we're going to do is go through and decode that key. It's a HU100 8-cut. So we come up here, we hit decode, we hit decode again. It advises you to make sure you're using the 1mm decoder, which we are. Make sure it is clean, the jaw is clean of debris and key shavings. All right. After it's decoded the key, it will give you the biddings, and right above that on the left, it will give you the actual key code. In this case, that is Z1474. What we're going to do now is loosen the dial, remove the existing key, insert our uncut key, tighten down. I like to give it an extra little turn just to make sure it's in there. Close the lid. Come back and hit cut. Again, 2mm cutter, 1mm tracer. I find on the GM keys or any high security key for that matter, it's best to go with 3 passes versus 1 or 2, just to make sure it cuts a smooth working key. If you were cutting a HU101 Jaguar aluminum key or the Passat and CC plastic insert keys, where you don't want the conductivity, you could tab there, and that will turn it off in order for you to be able to cut those keys correctly. In this case, we are not, so we're going to turn it on. 3 passes and hit cut. 2mm cutter, jaw is clean. we're going to clean the top of the jaw, flip it over, and do the other side.